Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to 9 p.m. English News edition. The headlines. Djibouti and World Bank meeting on the exit management review. International news. US and Iran both claim to show a drone down. That was the headlines, and now welcome to the national news. This morning, the number one of Jewish diplomacy was received by the Ethiopian Prime Minister, Mr. Abiy Ahmed, for an interview of nearly 1 hour. The Jewish minister was carrying a message from President Ismail Margele, and in particular presented to him the condolence of the Jewish head of state to the Ethiopian Prime Minister following the death of his father last week. Next, two officials refuted the main regional topic. They mentioned in particular the question of peace and security in the region against the backdrop of the Sudanese political crisis on the basis of Ethiopian Prime Minister's mediation initiative supported by the IGAD countries. The two officials stressed the importance of the pacified the political course in this part of the country and very important in the bosom of the country of the region. In addition, the Prime Minister of Ethiopia and the Prime Minister of Foreign Affairs of Djibouti have discussed bilateral relations, including improving corridor between the two countries on the basis of the economic trade. Jewish and first trading partner two countries that have a secular relation and the same. The two leaders symbolically planted two fruit trees in the gardens of the Ethiopian Prime Minister. The two trees have according to the political leaders, the excellence of the close relations has existed between the two countries. And encouraged an interview the review of relations between Djibouti and Ethiopia. It should be noted that the ambassador of the Republic of Djibouti to Ethiopia, Mr. Mohammed Idris Farah, and the first counselor of the ambassador, Mr. Abdi, have attended this two meeting. Of the young people of Okarko, the new national secretary in charge of youth, Mr. Mahad Hussein Ahmed, went to the city of the Unite accompanied by his colleague and national secretary for culture, Mr. Mohammed Sugi Bare, and a strong delegation of youth activity and youth progressive party. The city of the Unite welcomed it with a particular enthusiasm with the new national secretary of culture, Mr. Mohammed Sugi Bare, and the National Secretary responsible for the youth, Mr. Mahad Hussein Mahad Ahmed. The inhabitants of the city of the United have received a warm delegation led by the two National Secretaries since the return of the city to the site planned for the ceremonial held. First, they are openly paid from the Quran and the words of welcome to the President of the Regional Council, Mr. Abdurrahman Yunis Are. In their intervention, they conveyed a message of greeting of the highest authority of the party, first the President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Margele, and the First Lady, Madam Gadra Mahmoud Haide, Vice President Mr. Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, and the Secretary General Mr. Ilyas Musa and the Wali, and greeting all of the members of the Executive Committee of the RPP party. The National Youth Secretary of the RPP emphasized the vital place occupied by youth in the far and sight politics of the President of the Republic and his governance, and sends the accent to the supreme magistracy of the country. He also recalled that young women activities must fulfill their duty and withdraw membership cards in order to participate actively in political life. Finally, he urged all the youth of the country to take their destiny in hand by consolidating unity and social cohesion to achieve the goals of sustainable development in all areas. For this, they will travel the region of the interior to educate citizens, especially in this direction. The Minister of Finance, Ilyas Musa Dawale, with World Bank representative Atusek, yesterday shares a meeting on the portfolio management review at the People's Place. The portfolio review, the consultation exercise organized by the World Bank in partnership with the government, aims to measure progress on daily in the implementation of projects. 9 indicators were analyzed in this meeting, namely the readiness for implementation, the quality of the fundraising, the quality of the environment management, the respect of the legal cause, and the quality of the monitoring and control system. The participants from different ministerial departments review with all the projects taken into account. The indicator mentioned above for the achievement of the objective already achieved, the identification agree on the relevant action solution needed to improve a place. Discuss arose a keen interest among the participants who did not feel the opponent's bank on aspect or another ambiguity that posed some difficulty for them. Mr. Altusek, who is the representative of the World Bank in Chiburi, said in his speech that the importance of this meeting, indicating that the review should also be an opportunity to carry out a tour to a table of project in the preparation. Further, he reminded everyone that the presence of all the actors around the table reflected the commitment of all parts to assume their share of responsibilities. The minister As for him, the Minister of Finance, Mr. Ilyas Musa Dawale, first paid tribute to the World Bank, this noble institution which carry out the efforts of the government. Later, this time addressing the head of the project management unit of the different ministries convened for this workshop, he encouraged them to use this meeting to improve the executive of the project for which they are responsible. The Minister of Health, Mr. Mohammed Warsama Diriye, met yesterday with a representative of health committees and health committees that are located in all areas of the capital. In fact, the president of about 15 committees that bring together nearly 1,000 members responded to the invitation of the Minister of Health, who met them personally. In his address, and the Minister of Health, Mr. Mohammed Warsama Diriye, did not fail to recall the crucial role and the essential mission of these community leaders who do a great job in the prevention and promotion of health. Very active in their respective communities, this committee bring together nearly 8,000 members who serve proximity really at the level of health facilitated by carry out active research, active for people lost to malnutrition or vaccination or social mobilization action. The Minister of Health, Mr. Mohammed Warsame Diriye, therefore presented the certificate of the appreciation of all commitment members in graduate for their dedication and commitment. The representative of the community thanked the Minister of Health for the honor and the mark of congratulated they received. They anxiously reaffirmed their firm commitment to tirelessly pursue the community action which they are carrying out in close collaboration with the Department of Health. The Minister, Mr. Mohammed Abdul Kader Musa, Minister of Urban Planning, Environment and Tourism, accompanied by His Excellency Mr. Adan Hussein Abdullahi, Ambassador of Djibouti to Turkey, Mr. Ali Umar Yusuf, Technical Advisor at the Embassy, and Mr. Hussein Hirash Roble, Director of Environment and Sustainable Development, took part in the commemoration ceremony of the 25th World Day to complete the certification and route which is being held from June 17, 2019 to Anglais of His Excellency Mr. Bekir Bektimeri, Minister of Agriculture of Turkey and Forest. On this important day of commemoration, Ambassador and High Official of Turkish government, this important day commemoration of highest distinction has been an opportunity to appreciate the 25 years of progress made by the country in sustainable land management and reflect collectively on the mature orientation of the next 25 years with the final objective challenge our consistency and our shared responsible. The Minister of Housing, Environment and the Environment, His Excellency Mr. Mohammed Abdulkarim Musa, delivered at this meeting a speech in which he underlined that the Egyptian government has made considerable effort in setting up institutional legislation and policy to carry out its environmental governance must be taken seriously and invited everyone to continue. Like the rest of the world, the Republic of Djibouti celebrated yesterday morning a World Refugee Day. A ceremony dedicated to refugees was held in the village of Holhol in the region of Ali Sabih this Tuesday, June 20, 2019. The ceremony, which took place in the village of Holhol, and brought together the Secretary General of the Ministry of Interior, Siraj Abdulkader Umar, the Prefect of the region, Mr. Mohammed Wabiri Hassoui, the President of the Regional Council, Mr. Umar Ahmed Waisi, the Head of the Corps of the President Army, Colonel Abdul Wais bin Muhammad, Executive General Secretary of Honors, Mr. Hussein Hassan Darar, Representative of United Nations Agency in Djibouti. Around the world, more than 16 million people have fled their homes for fear of persecution or disasters. In Africa, the theme for 2019 is a refugee returning in internal displaced person towards sustainable solution. Currently, more than 21,000 refugees and asylum seekers from Somalia, Ethiopia, Yemen, and Eritrea are staying despite the socio-economic challenges of the country. The President of Djibouti, His Excellency Miguel, made three commitments at the Leaders Summit for refugees held on September 20, 2016 in New York. Adopted a new nation law on refugee providing access to education, legal aid, and the refugee star system, provide all refugee children with access to the quality education, and give all refugees access to the national health system. The Minister of National Education and Vocational Training held at the CVED of Information and Exchange on the implementation of the revision the curriculum of the first year Sunday, June 16, 2019. This important consultation workshop for the implementation of the new first-year curriculum saw the participation of all heads of the station of basic education, namely all the directors of the basic schools and the principal of the college medium school. This meeting was chaired by a senior MINFOB official, namely Mr. Saeed Nur Hassan, of the CEO of Kripen, Mrs. Ayan Usman Abar, Executive Secretary of MINFOB, Mrs. Aisha Farah El-Ture, the CEO of the SAFE, Mrs. Mona Ismail Abdo. Inspector General of purpose was to inform the new heads of schools of the new curriculum. To this end, the leaders who spoke in terms explained the new revised curriculum. During this meeting, the head of schools learned that the new curriculum introduced a lot of more facilities. In September 29, 2019-2020, an experimental basic English will appear in primary school. The challenge will be made over the duration of teaching time. During this presentation and exchange workshop of the new curriculum, participants actively contributed and come into effect in September 2019. The day was marked by a closing ceremony of the three exploratory drilling of the Salt Zone in Tajura region by ICE Atlantic ADC Group, or a local cultural and artisanal activity of the inhabitants of Daba. village. It organized by SD and its project team led by Muhammad Shari. This the context of the implementation of the environment and social management plan of the geothermal exploration project of ESD in the provided of the population of the locality. The sub-prefect of Lake Asal, Muhammad Ahmed as well as the notable and representative of the women were present at this ceremony. The technical teams of the project, which marked the end of the exploration phase of their proposed potential of draining wells last April. Yesterday, gendarmerie of the Sheikh Musa Brigade obtained information on facts that were quite serious and particularly harmful to public health. An individual allowed himself to collect the state sake of price for distribution before transporting them to his hangar in his neighborhood of residence. Then, thanks to a special swimming machine powered by an electric generator, it replaced the original pegs to replace them with pegs whose spirit date in 2020. Once he completed his supposed act will incomplete, he sells the spirit raised in proper pegs to local traders. By investigator of the Sheikh Musa Brigade during the search of his hangar, more than 300 tanks of 15 kilograms of rice and 415 sacks of 5 kilograms were found all day in Patras. During his hearing, the alleged inspector stated that they has been engaged in this illegal trade for several years. Under the auspices of the Secretary of Youth and Sport, the Egyptian Federation of Underwater Sport and Rescue organized a day of detection of the young talent for the qualification to the Championship of World Swimming with funds which will be held in Egypt from July 28 to August by the World Confederation of Underwater Activities, of which 25 boys and 7 girls, 2 agents of the Guard Corps, Djibouti, 2 agents of the Republican Guard, 7 of the city of Djibouti, 3 of the interior region Tajura Obo. The president of the Djibouti Federation of Underwater Sport and Rescue, Mr. Ibrahim Abdo, thanked the Secretary of State for youth of his underwater support, as well as the Colonel of the Guard Corps, Djiboutian first partner of the Federation, finally the organizer of this day. We regret to announce the death of the late Dr. Jamaluddin Abdelkader Hido this morning in Addis Ababa following a long illness. The late Jamaluddin Farah Abdelkader Hido, a politician well-known culture in the Horn of Africa, more particularly in Djibouti, Ethiopia and Eritrea. Dr. Jamaluddin Abdelkader was the founder with Ahmed Diniz of the transcription of the Afar language in law in 1975. Born 1948 to midday, he lives a large family, including a widow, several children and grandchildren. Very touched by this disappearance of this great man, Prime Minister Kamil Mohammed sent his condolence to the sadness family of the late Jamaluddin Abdelkader. Abdullah Kamil is a Egyptian politician following the death of the late Jamaluddin Abdelkader Hido, of this emblematic political and cultural figure in the Horn of Africa. The Afar Speaker Pen Center and its President Mr. Alwan Burhan over the most unsaid condolence to the family of the Jamaluddin Abdelkader Hido. Also, the Minister of Justice and Penitentiary Affairs in charge of human rights, Mr. Ali Hassan Badone, of the Minister of the Hamoud Aram, Secretary General of the Prime Minister Naguib Abdullah Kamil, Ambassador of Djibouti Aden Mohammed Ahmed Arita, Mr. Mohammed Kamil, Mr. Arguita Saeed Ali Mohammed Abdo, together with the Urge and finally Oga and General Poli Gadito Orbsio Arbizo Gadito also sent their most grateful condolences to the family of the deceased Jalaluddin Abdulkadir Rido. All pray the good God to welcome him to his eternal paradise. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. And moving on to the international news, Iran and the US have both released a video purporting to show an American drone being shot down. Tehran said the drone was flying over Iranian airspace, which Washington denies. The incident came after tensions between the two countries have risen after war takers based in the Orion coast were damaged. The US blames Iran, which denies involvement. That's it for this edition. Thanks for watching and have a good night.